Despite losing his status as the member of the House of Representatives, Minister for Home Affairs and a Deputy Prime Minister after being elected from the November 20 general elections, Rashtriya Swatantra Party chairperson Rabi Lamichane has marked an even more convincing victory from the by-election of Chitwan electoral constituency 2. Good evening, I'm Sarah Chitrakar and these are the headlines of the hour. Rashtriya Swatantra Party chairperson Lamichane wins Chitwan 2 by-election with more than 69% votes. Nepali Congress and CPN-UML failed to retain previous votes, Yadav leading in Bara. Gandaki Province Governor Prithiman Gurung calls for formation of a new province government, issues a deadline of Thursday to furnish claims with majority. A ceasefire in Sudan appears to be holding despite reports of new gunfire and shelling. Civilians back on the streets of capital, at least 459 killed in the conflict so far. And Kuwait strengthened their hopes of a semi-final spot at the ACC Men's Premier Cup. Defeats Singapore by 4 wickets, Malaysia secure a 3-wicket win over Qatar. Rashtriya Swatantra Party chairperson Rabi Lamichane has emerged victorious in Chitwan electoral constituency 2 in the by-election under the House of Representatives, garnering 54,176 votes. Nepali Congress candidate Jit Narayan Shrestha, who was in the second position, received 11,214 votes. RSP chairperson Lamichane won the by-election in Chitwan with a mammoth difference of 42,962 votes. Meanwhile, CPN-UML candidate Ram Prasad Neupane received 10,936 votes. Prior to this, Lamichane had won the November 20 general elections from the same electoral constituency with a difference of almost 35,000 votes with his nearest contender. Lamichane collected more votes this time around. 3 months after losing the status of the member of the House of Representatives, Rashtriya Swatantra Party chairperson Ravi Lamichane had re-entered the parliament after winning the by-election in Chitwan electoral constituency 2. Lamichane has received more votes than the November 20 general elections. From the November 20 elections, Rashtriya Swatantra Party had secured 20 seats at the House of Representatives with 11% votes in the proportionate category. Within the 6 months of the formation of the party, Rashtriya Swatantra Party had emerged as a new political force, while its chairperson Lamichane was appointed the Minister for Home Affairs and the Deputy Prime Minister. However, brakes were applied to Lamichane's term in the government following a Supreme Court verdict in relation to his citizenship issue. The party had joined the government led by the erstwhile CPN-UML, CPN-Maoist Centre coalition. However, despite withdrawing his party from the government, Lamichane extended support to the government led by the new coalition of Nepali Congress and Maoist Centre. The party had also faced criticisms after an audio tape involving the party's parliamentarian Dhaka Kumar Shrestha demanding 20 million rupees in bribe was leaked. Shrestha lost his position as the member of the parliament. The party and Chair Lamichane faced ethical questions after the incident as well. However, with intensifying public dissatisfaction with mainstream parties, Lamichane reaped benefits in the by-elections yet again. Inviting Swarnim Wagley from Nepali Congress to Rashtriya Swatantra Party, Lamichane made a strategic effort to improve his and the party's reputation. This move helped the party earn 1 more seat at the House of Representatives and increase their representation to 21 seats at the parliament. Swarnim Wagley of Rashtriya Swatantra Party has been victorious in the by-election for the House of Representatives in Tanahun electoral constituency 1. Wagley claimed victory by a margin of almost 15,000 votes from his nearest contender Govinda Bhattrai of Nepali Congress. Vote counting of the by-election at the District Coordination Committee of Damauli ended at around 3 a.m. early this morning, according to which Wagley bagged 34,918 votes to claim victory. His nearest rival, Govinda Bhattrai of Nepali Congress, finished second, securing 20,122 votes, while Sarvendra Khanal of CPN-UML came in third with 8,488 votes. The votes received by Wagley is almost 10,000 more than that of Nepali Congress's Ramchandra Paudel, who secured victory in the constituency in the November 20 parliamentary election last year. Tanahun 1, which had been considered a stronghold of Nepali Congress since the past 3 decades, has now welcomed a Rashtriya Swatantra Party into the constituency by electing Wagley. Although the vote counting in Tanahun 1 had ended early this morning, the Office of the Election Officer organized an official program this morning and handed Wagley the certificate of victory. After his victory, Wagley had stated that he will hold a people's mandate at highest esteem. According to the District Election Office, a total of 65,298 votes were recorded in Tanahun Electoral Constituency 1 in Sunday's by-election. In Bara too, Upendra Yadav of Janta Samajwadi Party is leading with 18,496 votes. In the by-election for the vacant seat at the House of Representatives from the constituency, Yadav is ahead of Shiva Chandra Kushwaha of Janamat Party. Kushwaha has so far received 14,174 votes. Meanwhile, CPN UML's Purushottam Paudel has collected 5,514 votes. We now have our colleague Prarambha Dahal with latest updates from the vote counting of the by-election of the House of Representatives. Over to you, Prarambha.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Back again with the latest updates from the vote counting of the by-election of the House of Representatives. Let us now first of all begin with the results that we already have in terms of Tanahun electoral constituency, where the position was vacant after the election of Ramchandra Paudel of Nepali Congress as the president. We had the results, and Swarnim Wagley, a former member, in fact, of Nepali Congress, an economist, a noted figure in international forums as well, has won with a landslide margin, almost 14,800 plus votes, and left behind was Nepali Congress's Govinda Vatra with 20,122 votes, while Saurendra Khanal of CPN-UML only received 8,488 votes. If we are to compare this result with what had happened in the November 20 parliamentary elections, Ramchandra Paudel had received 25,361 votes, and he was obviously from Nepali Congress, later on elected as the president. Right now, having some issues with the health, we wish him a speedy recovery. Ek Bahadur Rana Magor of CPN-UML had received 19,981 votes. Considering these data, it is quite concerning for the mainstream political parties, as the votes of Nepali Congress and CPN-UML both have massively dropped. What it actually shows is there is an evident frustration among the public. At the same time, it is not just with the parties, it is also with the failure in terms of delivering their assurances and promises made during the election campaignings and the agendas as well. That is why a popular figure who actually wanted to contest in the election from Nepali Congress itself, but was not given the seat or ticket for the elections, joined just before the candidacies were announced, joined Rashtriya Swatantra Party, and then was still able to earn or generate this massive number of votes. Actually is again a fact or witness to the fact that these parties have a lot to do in the next 4 years. Otherwise, the trend of downfall in terms of number of votes is only going to increase for the so-called mainstream political parties, and alternative forces and alternative candidates, like even independent candidates and parties like Rashtriya Swatantra Party, will be able to take advantage from this kind of situation. So Rashtriya Swatantra Party's Swarnim Wagley is the new addition from the entity and takes the number of seats to 21 for the party at the House of Representatives as well. Now from here we go to another constituency where the by-election was held. This time the reason was a bit different. The reason being Rashtriya Swatantra Party's chairperson one more time was previously, like we've been mentioning this several times, he had won the election with 49,261 votes in the previous election, but later on, with issues related to his citizenship certificate and the Supreme Court verdict, he had lost his position not just as the member of House of Representatives, but also as the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Home Affairs. Back then, Nepali Congress's Umesh Shrestha had received 14,983 votes, while CPN-UML's candidate Krishna Vakta Pokhrel had received 14,647 votes. Now, if the Supreme Court verdict had done any harm, only seems it has happened for Nepali Congress and CPN-UML, as their vote counting has dropped from almost 15,000 to only 11,000 out here, while CPN-UML 14,000 to almost 11,000 also here. There seems to be a sort of a competition only between two, but the winner, Ravi Lamichane, has extended. In fact, his number of votes has only increased from what he had actually received last time. Despite the fact that the total votes recorded in Chitwan electoral constituency 2 was lower than what had happened in the previous election, or rather say the November 20 parliamentary elections, the total vote count for Rabi Lamichane has increased. His popularity seems to have increased. People seem to be having more of a trust in this entity. There might be several reasons as to why Rabi Lamichane has received the votes. Maybe despite the fact that the Supreme Court verdict was there, people are probably thinking like it was too short of a time period to judge based on his performance. He probably was only less than a month in the power in the government. At the same time, their agendas and their candidates seem to be more of better candidates in relative comparison to others fielded by other political parties, like even the mainstream parties. So again, like we mentioned in Tanahun, it is a matter of great concern for parties like Nepali Congress and CPN-UML, as their popularity and the number of votes are decreasing also in Chitwan electoral constituency 2. Now from Chitwan, we move on to the other constituency where the vote counting is still in progress. In Madhya province, in Bara electoral constituency 2, the latest vote count that we have is Upendra Yadav of Janata Samajwadi Party is in the lead with 18,808 votes. Following behind is Shiv Chandra Prasad Kushwaha of Janamat Party with 15,458 votes. We have to consider the fact that Kushwaha was previously a member of CPN Mahavir Center, and he was back then also a second in the race of the member of House of Representatives, as back then Ramsai Prasad Yadav was elected with 13,822 votes. The margin was very little here, and as Ramsai Prasad Yadav was elected as the deputy, in fact vice president, the seat had got vacant, and Upendra Yadav, who had lost against Janamat Party's chairperson C.K. Raut, preferred to contest from Bara 2, and Janata Samajwadi Party, in fact, it was the same party from which the deputy president actually hails, vice president actually hails. So the party seems to be maintaining its stronghold in Bara 2, but at the same time, Shiv Chandra Prasad Kushwaha, who was very, had a very fine margin of difference, seems to be way behind, as Janata Samajwadi Party this time has the support of the ruling coalition involving parties like CPN Mahavir Center and Nepali Congress as well. So that is all we have for the moment. We'll definitely be having more updates as the vote counting goes on in Bara 2. For now, it is back to Sarah in the news.
Members of the House of Representatives have demanded the government to clarify the priorities of the budget and the works of the 3 tiers of the government. Addressing today's session of the House of Representatives, members of the Parliament have demanded the government to clarify the works of the local levels, provinces and the federal government from the upcoming budget, saying that complications had surfaced as all 3 tiers of the government had implemented their budget in same areas. Parliamentarians have called for adequate planning while allocating funds. Saying the nation was going through an economic crisis, the parliamentarians also stressed on unity among everyone to address the issue. The parliamentarians have also demanded adequate discussions for the budget of the upcoming fiscal year. They added that adequate discussions ensure ease in implementation of the budget. A few parliamentarians also drew the government attention regarding the delay in supply of textbooks despite the beginning of the academic year and a delay in release of salary of teachers and security personnel. Gandaki Province Governor Prithviman Gurung has called for the formation of the province government. The governor has issued a deadline to the political parties until 4 p.m. on Thursday to stake their claims for the formation of the provincial government under the sub-article 2 of Article 168 of the Constitution of Nepal. The Gandaki province government had toppled after Chief Minister Khagraj Adhikari could not generate the vote of confidence from the Provincial Assembly on Saturday last week. Now the political parties can furnish their claims for the post of the province chief minister by collecting signatures of the provincial assembly members within the deadline given by the province governor. The Gandaki Provincial Assembly includes 27 members from Nepali Congress, 22 from CPN-UML, 8 from CPN Maoist Centre, along with the Speaker, 2 from Rashtriya Prajatantra Party and 1 independent candidate. Support from 31 Provincial Assembly members is required to make their claims for the majority government. The fourth meeting of the Joint Task Force of Nepal and India formed to facilitate supply of petroleum products is currently underway in Kathmandu. The meeting, that is being led by the joint secretaries of both the countries, had dwelled on the condition of projects of mutual interest. Discussions are being held on the expansion of petroleum pipelines from India's Motihari to Chitwan and Siliguri to Chhapa. Likewise, the agendas for discussion include extension of natural gas pipelines from Gorakhpur to Bhairawa. The Nepali side has been giving assurances of procuring natural gas from India if the latter provides assistance in constructing the required infrastructure. From the Nepali side, the meeting is being led by Joint Secretary of the Ministry of Commerce, Radhika Aryal. Likewise, from the Indian side, Joint Secretary of the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, Isha Srivastav, is leading the meeting. The meeting is set to sign the report presented by the Joint Research Task Force of Nepal Oil Corporation and the Indian Oil Corporation regarding trade enhancement. Nepal has been annually procuring petroleum products worth more than 250 billion rupees. It's been 8 years today since the devastating April earthquake struck the country, claiming the lives of over 8,891, injured over 22,000 and a loss of property worth billions. Many of the infrastructures that were destroyed during the earthquake in 2015 have yet to be reconstructed. Based on government estimates, around 900,000 infrastructures sustained damages in the earthquake. Time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question: what should be done to protect those leaving for foreign employment from being scammed? Your options are A, intensify regulation, B, take actions based on grievances, and C, increase awareness. Voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for international update. A ceasefire in Sudan appears to be holding, although there have been reports of new gunfire and shelling. It is the fourth effort to stop the fighting, which began on 15 April with previous truces not observed. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the 72-hour truce had been agreed between the Army and the Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, after 48 hours of negotiations. The latest ceasefire attempt started at local midnight. There have also been reports of warplanes flying over Khartoum, but civilians are back on the streets of the capital. At least 459 people have died in the conflict so far, though the actual number is thought to be much higher.
Sports news.
Kuwait has strengthened its hopes for semi-finals, defeating Singapore by 4 wickets in the ACC Men's Premier Cup match played today. Mohammad Aslam claimed 5 wickets in Kuwait's win. In the match held in TU Cricket Ground in Kantipur, Singapore were put to bat. Singapore put up an average batting display at the start and lost its first wicket in the 5th over. Amartya Kaul top scored for Singapore with 45 runs in 60 balls. Manpreet Singh contributed personal 28 runs and Thilippan Omaidurai 13. None of the other batters touched double digits. Skipper Aritra Datta was limited to 44 runs as Singapore managed to collect 113 runs. Mohammad Aslam was the pick of the Kuwaiti bowlers, claiming 5 wickets, while Shiraz Khan took 3 wickets. Adnan Idris and Yasin Patel claimed a wicket each. Chasing a victory target of 114 runs, Kuwait scored 118 in 26.3 overs, losing 6 wickets. In another match played today, Malaysia secured a 3-wicket win over Qatar. Qatar opted to bat in the match played in Mulpani ground and put up 215 runs in 35 overs, losing 8 wickets. Imal Liange scored a half-century in the Qatari innings with 56 runs in 68 balls. Khurram Shehzad scored 41 runs. Ikramullah Khan contributed 39 runs. Rizwan Haider and Muhammad Wafiq each claimed 2 wickets, while Vijay Unni, Khizar Hayat and Virandip Singh claimed 1 wicket each. In reply, that's all for the moment. Our next English bulletin will be at 10:30 tonight. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.